Hi everyone and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where my guest expert for today is Claire. And Claire is a spiritual guide, a writer and a blogger at Star of Avion. So hi Claire, welcome.
Hello, thank you for the hello, thank you.
And the topic we're going to talk about today is trusting yourself versus trusting the universe. And I would love to
Yeah,
start with a quote that I found on your blog, and that says, I felt the universe has it in for me, constantly blocking me from moving forward and pushing me to surrender. So I love
yeah.
to know, why is it so hard for us to trust in the unseen and surrender?
Mm. And that's it's a great question and a great quote because I think a lot of us, like you said, do struggle with that. And you know, 10 years into my spiritual journey, I'm still learning to surrender. I'm still wondering out why things aren't going the way that they are. And Um, I think, especially if you're very analytical, like me, if you're a person that's always in your head and you're always like the thinker, then dropping down into your intuition or your heart space is a lot difficult for those like me. So when you try to find that balance between the heart and the mind, the heart tends to take the back seat while
Right.
the mind tries to figure out all the answers and, tries to go there and go here. And when really you just need to sit still and just, allow the silence to come through.
Yeah, because we're not really like trained or used to doing that. But like you said, we use our analytical brain a lot. Or when you see, when you have to like trust yourself and trust the unseen, especially, or trust your intuition, which and you can see like direct results because, of course, we live in a quite result-based society. So you want to
Yeah.
see results quickly. So how do you stay motivated when you don't see results quickly?
I think you have to build a certain set of tools that works for you. So for me, it's numerology. It's seeing the double ones on the clock. It's seeing the triple threes. It's seeing the butterflies. It's seeing gold coins. It's me getting clues from the universe.
Mhm.
I think I feel that for me that's worked really well.
Mhm.
I feel that yeah, having signs as that little encouragement, like, okay, you're on the right path, keep going. This is the direction that you're going in. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
that seems to work quite well.
it's like you have a direct communication in that sense with the universe that encourages you by those signs, like, yeah, keep going, you're on the
Yeah,
right path.
yeah. And then by that you learn to be more open. That
Mhm.
channel starts to get a little bit stronger, and then you
Right.
can start to just, like I said before, just sit and pause and just wait for that. It's always that first thought or that first acknowledgement that comes into your mind that
Mhm.
you can use as that channel, and and strengthen that channel.
Yeah, it's like that little nudge of
Yeah, a
wisdom
little.
that, yeah,
Yeah, exactly, totally, that's totally
yeah,
right.
because we tend to ignore that, or like you said, like overthink it, or say like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing. And so what are
Yeah.
some ways that we can connect to that deeper and ignore basically our ego that's saying, oh, it's nothing?
Yeah, I think if you're somebody who's creative, I think journaling is really good.
Hmm.
I think doing the simplest things like getting outside in the sun for 5-10 minutes, taking a cup of coffee and sitting outside and turning off the phones and no distractions, and
Right.
just using the simple techniques. Some people like having showers or going to the pool or to the sea or to the ocean to try and, cleanse their energy and helps them ground. I think grounding is very important. When we're in our mind a lot, we are out of our body. We're not
Hmm.
in our body. So I think any way that you find, even getting a massage, having a hot chocolate, anything um, that makes you feel connected back to the self,
Hmm.
is really good.
And does this lack of like trusting the universe and trusting the unseen, does that stem from a place of not really trusting yourself?
I think a lot of it for me personally had to do, still has to do with conditioning. I think we're usually, we're told a lot that, for me specifically, don't make a mistake, and if you're going to make a mistake, make sure you think about this and think about this and this scenario and this scenario and this scenario. And we weren't, our parents weren't taught to trust their intuition either. So for a lot of us, it is a lot of conditioning to actually just, quieten the noise, or not listen to everybody's, opinions, and just go, well, what is it that I want? What is it that I need? And, and listening to ourselves. Yeah. So.
Mm. And sometimes it feels like when we are going through the hardest times in our lives, we are of course the most disconnected, but that's when we, I think, need it the most, right? That guidance and that trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And the trust, I think the trust is just something that we have to take very small baby steps. If we just go from, okay, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to put complete trust in the universe and going to live out of my car and, do all that kind of stuff. And you're not somebody that has learnt to trust themselves or to trust the universe, then doing that is only going to cause more headache. It's only going to cause more drama. And then later on, you're going to have to try and start all over again to try and take those baby steps. Whereas if you just took a small step and said, okay, well, I want to make this decision. Okay, show me a butterfly, show me a yellow butterfly. So, an example was I'm trying to decide in 2 suburbs where I want to move to next. And I said, okay, well, if this is where I need to be heading, then show me this color butterfly. It was a yellow one. And if I was going to go in this other area, then show me a blue butterfly. And I wait for those signs. But those signs aren't going to come, when we want them straight away. They're going to come in divine timing. They're going to come when the time's right too. So that's how you have to, that's a good way to try and build the trust as well with yourself and with the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Baby steps. And
Baby steps.
yeah, and especially allowing yourself to be open for receiving those signs I think the universe can surprise us sometimes in the way the signs or messages can come through.
Yeah, and I think we have to allow ourselves to be surprised. Sometimes we, I want to, control the situation so much that sometimes universe doesn't have the space. She doesn't have the room to go, well, I'm trying to show you, but you're so busy in your head, which I get all the time. My guide's like, can you just get out of your head for 5 minutes and just let us do the work? And I'm like, no. Like, I know I make the answer. So,
I know what's right for
even,
me. So yeah.
I mean, they're like, no, but we need you to go, especially when I need to steer into a new direction, is where I find the most resistance.
Right.
So, 10 years, like I said, 10 years in, and I'm still learning. So,
And I think there's also a difference in, actually surrendering to the universe and trusting what's happening, but also then taking aligned action and not just waiting for magic to just appear on your path, right?
yeah, absolutely. I think there's a time to surrender, and I think there's a time to aligned action. I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to use another quote from your blog. It says,
Oh, okay.
trusting outside of myself is unachievable right now. So why am I forcing myself to do this? So what would you advise others who feel that way as well?
Exactly like that. Don't force yourself to do something that's not comfortable for you, because by doing so, you're only going to go into the overthinking. You're going to not be able to make a decision. You're not going to be able to find your way. You're going to complicate the situation more than what it needs to be. And I think, yeah, it's just it's so amazing when I hear my words back to me, because sometimes I'm just hearing, it's like, oh, I actually needed that advice today too. So, it's, I think until we learn to trust the self first, or at least understand what it feels like to trust the self, what it feels like in the body, then we can then start trusting something externally. Because a lot of people have problems with letting go of control of something bigger than themselves, because we don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
And I think in that respect, I think it's actually not about the outcome, because the outcome is unknown.
Right.
So I would say to them just to, rein it in, take the step back and just see what it feels like in your body to trust. And when your body will, I feel your body tells you when it feels right and when it doesn't feel right. There's something in it that either feels like, oh, I'm excited, that feels
Mhm.
like something I could go towards, or you know what, that's causing me a lot of panic and a lot of stress, and it's, my body's, it's getting all clenched up. Then I would suggest if you're feeling that, then that's not the direction that you want to go.
Mhm. Yeah, because I've experienced that myself as well when I was dealing with PTSD. My body didn't feel safe to do that. So I had to relearn how to trust myself in my body actually. And then
Yeah,
like a calmness comes over you and you are more open to receiving that guidance, I think. So I think it's
yeah.
especially important to feel safe in your body because otherwise you may feel overstimulated by trusting on something that is outside of you if you don't even trust yourself.
Yourself, yep. And I think we're all, as everybody's awakening. I think we're all learning to know what that feels like. It's just, it's so ingrained in us not to do that. That I think, regardless of how long you've been on your journey for, there's a lot of conditioning that we need to unpack.
Yeah. And that's where we, I think, should peel the layers to start, yeah, to start that connection to yourself. And I think when you have that connection to self, the rest can
The
follow.
rest, yeah, and it falls into place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Claire, for today. Thank you.
Thank you.